Hi class, here's today's lesson on the quadratic formula. As a quick do now, you should be finding a, b, and c with standard form for these four problems. Make sure you watch the algebra tile video I've linked on Piazza on deriving the quadratic formula. Memorize this quadratic formula here. These next notes, it's helpful to know that for now, non-negative, like square root of b squared minus 4ac, means that you'll have no real solutions, and if it's negative, you'll have no real solutions. Enriched students, if you choose to do that set of problems, you can read page 423 for more exercises, where you learn about imaginary numbers, and you will see this again in Algebra 2. And everyone, we're going to go through these 8 problems with the quadratic formula, just as some practice. So you can pause now and do your own things. I have an enriched word problem that's interesting if you want to work on it. So for this do now problem, notice here we're looking for A, B, and C. So for 1a, a is equal to 2. The term next to x is going to be b. We're going to take the minus with it, so it's negative 4. C is equal to 3. So a little bit on why take the minus. So when you look at standard form, right, everything's going to be plus, like that. So that's why b here is negative 4, not just positive 4. So be careful right around here. Take the negative. When you don't have any numbers in front, as number 2 over here, there's a 1 hiding out there. 1 times x, it's just x. 1 times x squared, it's just x squared. So for c, it's not positive 5, but negative 5. For 1c, a is equal to 7, b equals negative 10, c equals 3. For 1d, a equals negative 3, b equals 4, c equals 12. That's your 4 do now problems. You have to be able to identify a, b, and c in order to apply the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There's a helpful way, like what pop goes to weasel. So that's the other video I'm recommending you listen to. It helps you memorize this. And it's nice because now you can solve any quadratic with the quadratic equation. This thing, quadratic formula. If you didn't get completing the square, well, you can always use the quadratic formula to solve the things you can't factor now. So here's some more practice with the formula. The first step is identifying what your A, B's, and C's are. Like so. Then we put them in. Don't forget about the negative out in front. Plus or minus square root 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is 8, all over 2a. So stepwise, I'm going to do the inside stuff first. So this is equal to negative 6 plus or minus square root 36 minus 32. Oops. 2 times 1 over 2. And then you simplify the inner one. 4 over 2. Now I'm going to do all these apart. 6 plus or minus 2 all over 2. So then I'm going to do division. There's some options here, either way, plus or minus 1. Now I think about these two operations, the plus or minus. Negative 3 plus 1, negative 3 minus 1. And those are your two answers for this particular quadratic equation, using the quadratic formula. So let's go down, work down the page. Next problem, a here equals 1, because there's no multiplier, the default of 1. Don't forget to take the minuses. So looking at the formula in the corner, okay, negative of negative 2 plus or minus square root negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 15 all over 2 times 1. Again, I'll start with the middle stuff underneath the square root first. I guess I'll also simplify the negative out there and the bottom. Okay, that becomes positive 2 plus or minus square root 4 plus 60 all over 2. I'm going to focus in on this stuff. 2 plus or minus square root 64 all over 2 plus or minus 8 over 2 plus or minus, actually, let's divide by 2. 1 plus or minus 4 plus 4 minus 4, 5, and negative 3. Those are our two answers. Even more practice. Hope you're getting the pattern now. C equals 7, C equals negative 15. Just like before, negative 7 plus or minus square root 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 15 over 2 times 1. So as we go through this, simplify the stuff underneath the square root. 49 plus 60 all over 2. Let's move this out of the way. So that becomes negative 7 plus or minus 109 all over 2. So we could pause here, like we can't simplify it anymore. It's optional to simplify the radical. What does that mean? This optional step, 109, you can decompose or like break up into other numbers, like 3 and 30. Actually, no. You just leave it 109. I don't think you can simplify 109 anymore. Yeah. Just want to pause there. For these, I'm going to fill out later. See lecture notes. I want to bring up some more complicated versions of this problem. Skip over to 3A and 3B. Maybe we'll skip this one. Yeah, we'll do the other three, these two. So with this problem, notice it's not in standard form because you have 1 over here. This only works for when a squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So then that's going to affect your a and b values. A equals 2, b equals -2, c equals -1. Negative of a negative plus or minus -2 squared minus 4 times 2 times -1 over 2. Now we have a different a value, 2 times 2. So we'll simplify the 3 parts. 2 plus or minus square root 4 plus 8 over 4. 2 plus or minus square root of 12 all over 4. And so you can pause here. This one we can simplify further. Square root of 12 actually equals square root of 4 times square root of 3, which equals 2 times root 3. So then, optional, you can make it look like 2 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 4. Okay. So this one has the additional step of moving things around. You can see 3B done in the lecture notes. I'll do 3C and 3D next. A here is equal to 1, B equals -3, C equals 1, -3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1 over 2 times 1. 3 plus or minus square root 9 minus 4 over 2. 3 plus or minus root 5 over 2. And we pause there because we can't go any further. For 3C, let's move things around. Okay, -2 plus or minus 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2/3 all over 2 times 1. -2 plus or minus square root 4 minus 8 over 3 over 2. Great. Do the stuff in the radical. 8 minus 3 is 1 and 1/3, 4/3 all over 2. And that's where we stop. So that's a bunch of examples on how to use the quadratic formula. The enriched part, I'll demo on showing like where that -b over 2a comes from down here. You should definitely try this on your own first before looking at this part of the video. average of the x-intercepts. So first, so negative b plus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's your first x-intercept. We're going to add that with the next one. This is what it means to find the average. Minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, all this whole thing is being divided by 2. When we simplify this, our goal is to get negative b over 2a to pop out. As we add these things together, notice that fraction-fraction arithmetic, they have the same denominators here and here. So it becomes negative b plus b squared minus 4ac plus negative b minus b squared minus 4ac. So notice these things cancel out because one's minus, one's plus. So then at the top, you're just left with negative 2b. All over, oops, sorry. Okay. Negative 2b divided by 2a over 2, so that becomes negative b over a all over 2. So this thing, you can think about it like negative b over a times 1/2. Ta-da, negative b over 2a. That's what pops out. So that's today's lesson. There's the showing that the average of the x-intercepts is negative b over 2a, same as the axis of symmetry. As an enriched reading, please look over 423, read about I. You'll be that much better prepared for Algebra 2.